Do you like Epic the Musical but are wondering who the heck is Odysseus? Let's go over the basics. Odysseus is the king of Ithaca. His father is Laertes, and Laertes didn't just die and Odysseus inherited the throne. Laertes was just tired of being the king and he was like, peace out, I'm going to the Bahamas and I'm retiring early. Odysseus, you got this, right? And Odysseus is like, well, yeah, I don't really have a choice. So Odysseus, at the age of 30, becomes king of Ithaca. His number one goal is to find a wife at this time, because why? Once you're married, you can produce an heir, and the reigning kings and queens of Ithaca can continue from this lineage that comes from Odysseus and Laertes. Blah, 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 blah. We know about that. Penelope and Odysseus are quite an odd couple in the sense that Odysseus picked Penelope because she is not only beautiful and smart, but she is just as manipulative and cunning and sneaky as Odysseus. They are essentially each other's mirrors. That just makes an arranged marriage so much easier, because now we're not just marrying for land, we're not just marrying for political powers joining together, we are now marrying for love. Aw, it's a Disney magical story. First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes Telemachus in a baby carriage, right? So Penelope has Telemachus right away. And it's a happy family, and it's amazing, and they're so happy, and all of a sudden, what? There's war? And Odysseus has to go? How does the war start? Let me tell you. Paris is the prince of Troy, and he's just visiting his neighboring countries, and he's visiting Menelaus. I forget what Menelaus resides in. Sparta. I should have known that because Penelope's from Sparta. So Menelaus is the king of Sparta, and he's like, hey Paris, oh my god, buddies, we're gonna watch the football game, we're gonna get together, we're gonna get some drinks. Have you met my wife? Oh my god, meet my wife, Helen of Sparta. She's just amazing, isn't she? And Paris is like, yeah, she's great. And Helen's like dishing out like the chips and the nachos, and they're getting all together, and Menelaus is like, Paris, dude, like, thank you so much for coming. Please be my guest. Mi casa es su casa. My stuff is your stuff. Please make yourself feel welcome. And Paris is like, you know what? I am going to make myself feel welcome. And I'm going to take Helen. He kidnaps Helen. Some say she went with him. He said, I want it. I got it. And he takes her back to Troy. And of course, Menelaus isn't going to go down quiet. Menelaus runs to his buddy Agamemnon. And Agamemnon is the king of kings. And when I hear king of kings, I think of biblical, like Jesus. And I was like, wait, what's a better way to explain that Agamemnon is on top? He is Beyonce of Destiny's Child. You can fight over which one Odysseus and Menelaus are between Kelly and Michelle. But Agamemnon's Beyonce. And you will not mess with Beyonce, okay? So Agamemnon's like, oh, Paris wants to play funny. We're gonna start a war. Round up the girls. We're starting a war. Odysseus really doesn't want to go to war. He just got married and he just had a kid. He just wants to live his princess fairy tale life, to be completely honest. He wants to live his happily ever after. And he can't, but he also can't say no to Agamemnon. Why? Would you say no to Beyonce? That's the real question. Would you say no to Beyonce? Because I don't think I could, if I'm being completely honest with you. If Odysseus says no to Agamemnon, Agamemnon could just be like, oh, so you're not with us? And if you're not with us, while we're sacking Troy, we're just going to make a little pit stop to Ithaca, Odysseus. We're going to give you the fair treatment of Destiny's Child. We're going to give you the fair treatment. So don't play with me, Odysseus. You're going to war. You're going to war with us. Do you know who Farah is in Destiny's Child? Exactly. Okay? So Odysseus does try to get out of this. He tries to plead insanity. He's like, I'm crazy. I can't go to war. I can't sail a ship. I'm so crazy. I forget who proves him wrong. I think it's Achilles. Achilles is like, he ain't crazy. You want to know how I know he's not crazy? Put his baby, like, in front of a chariot. Put his baby in front of a chariot real quick. Start the horses up. And of course Odysseus is like, not my baby. And Achilles is like, haha, get up. You're going to war. Right? Did they send me daughters when I asked for sons? Odysseus, you're going to war. So Odysseus goes to war. When Agamemnon rounds up Odysseus to go to war with him, he's like, you're bringing all the men in your country. Granted, there was no like real set army back then, so it would have to be all the men in the country, which means the farmers were gone, the blacksmiths were gone, the insert anything else a stereotypical man of the Bronze Age would do back then. They were all heading to war. In Greek culture, the women raised the daughters and the men raised the sons. So with all these men going to war, there's this constant commentary of like the boys of that generation struggling to grow up because they didn't have anyone to raise them properly in their culture, which is something that Telemachus deals with. And that's also why the suitors don't really take him seriously. Odysseus also has a little dog he leaves behind, Argos, who is so intelligent that he actually can speak the native tongue and can talk the way us humans do with Odysseus. And Odysseus commands the dog. He's like, hey, Argos, you are going to wait for master. And Argos is like, sir, yes, sir. And that dog stays alive until Odysseus comes home. All these men go to war. And you're probably wondering why Penelope waited so long for Odysseus to come back to war. Why didn't she just accept that he was dead? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Grieving is hard. Finding out that your loved one is gone is hard. However, Agamemnon and Clytemnestra, his wife, set up a really good system on how to figure out if they like were alive or not. So what they did was Clytemnestra set up a bunch of like fire pits all around the Greek countries, isles, Mediterranean Sea countries, blah, 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 in the Bronze Era. They set up a bunch of these fire torches. And if they won the war in Troy, they were going to light up that torch. And then someone from this country was going to light up this torch. And then, so it was just like essentially telephone, bing, 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 bing. We're alive and we're coming back home. Not only, so that torch was lit when they won the Trojan War. Which gets sent back to Penelope. Okay, great. My husband's coming home. I get my husband back. But the trip from Troy to Ithaca should only take 10 days. If there's crazy winds, 12, 13, like, come on, 15 days? Like, it's not going to take that long. 20 years?